Everyone's chasing the next shiny object. TikTok, virality, Instagram Reels, even AI-generated content. But here's the truth. In the automotive aftermarket, no single channel wins alone. Take Real Truck, for example. They didn't bet everything on TikTok or a gimmicky campaign. They invested in a system, rebuilding their SEO and content engine, layering on brand storytelling, and fueling organic discovery. The result? 94% increase in organic traffic, nearly 50% more revenue, and over 1 million new shoppers in a single year. That's the power of integration, not a silver bullet. Every brand wants a silver bullet channel that will flood them with sales. The reality, that silver bullet doesn't exist. The real growth comes from building a system where SEO, YouTube, social, forums, and even trade shows all work together. Each touchpoint reinforces the others, and that's how you actually move more parts online. So stick around, because in this video, I'll show you how to use each channel the right way, and more importantly, how to connect them into one playbook that scales your sales. Welcome to part 3 in our series, How to Sell More Auto Parts Online, where I'll show you how to effectively use organic traffic. Let's start with one of the biggest organic channels, SEO. When it comes to SEO, most brands will get it wrong. They think about stuffing category pages with text or cranking out top 10 brake pad blogs. But here's the counterintuitive truth. SEO isn't about pumping out more content. It's about building systems that let your entire catalog show up online. If you're running tens of thousands of SKUs, the silent killer is your crawl budget. Google doesn't index every page equally. On big catalogs, 30 to 40% of products never even get indexed. That means you are invisible before you even start. Brock's Performance ran into this exact same issue. Before their re-platform, huge chunks of their catalog weren't even being crawled. So once they fixed the templates and content hygiene, organic revenue jumped by 94%, orders jumped by 104%. This is proof that crawl efficiency translates directly into dollars. So what's the fix? Start with your structure. Build clean, scalable templates for categories, subcategories, and product pages, so Google actually knows what you sell. Then add internal linking systems that put crawlers through your catalog the same way a good salesperson walks a customer through the showroom. And finally, cut the dead weight. Orphan products, duplicate SKUs, and messy parameterized URLs that drag your rankings down. Catalog isn't sexy, but it scales. Real Truck proved it with 94% increase in traffic and 48% in revenue, and 1 million new organic shoppers from technical cleanup and template strategy. Clean inputs drive compounding outputs. It's not just about structure. Content still matters, but quality, not quantity. Buyers, and of course Google, want fitment advice, such as works with 2017 through 2020 Ford F-150 XLT, XL, and Lariat. They also want buyers' guidance, best for towing, heavy loads, and off-road use. They also want install instructions and compatibility charts. So skip the boilerplate and focus on helpful content that actually answers buyers' questions. Here's another overlooked lever: your product data and feeds. Everyone uses manufacturer AC Spies data. It's great for compliance, terrible for marketing. If all of your listings look identical, you disappear in a sea of duplicates. The fix? Add a marketing layer. Optimize titles. Add rich descriptions. Add consumer-friendly attributes such as benefits, use cases, and install notes. Compliant data gets you listed. Marketing data gets you clicked. And don't forget, Merchant Center isn't just ad plumbing anymore. Free product listings show up in search, images, shopping, even AR overviews. So your feed is your SEO strategy. Finally, layer in structured data and reviews. Product plus offer plus review schema powers stars, pricing, availability in search engine result pages. Reviews aren't just conversion boosters anymore. They act as ranking filters in Google, even AI results. SEO isn't dead, but it's not just content either. It's the foundation layer. It's the system that makes every other channel work harder. What's your biggest struggle with SEO? Pop your question in the comments and I'll answer the most interesting in an upcoming video. SEO isn't the only organic channel. Let's dive into social and how you can stop chasing virality and what you should be focusing on instead. Most brands treat social media like it's their growth engine. Post more reels, go viral on TikTok, build a Facebook group. Easy sales, right? Not really. Here's the truth. Organic social isn't your revenue machine. It's your trust machine. Posting everywhere only lifts sales by 2 to 5%. That's a small bump, and it doesn't come from new buyers. It comes from people already on the fence who just needed one more reason to trust you. RevZilla leaned into this. Their common thread blog and writing community didn't flood them with new buyers overnight, but it cemented trust. That trust turned browsers into repeat customers, and even a small conversion lifts. 6% on mobile, worth $2 million annually. That's the conversion lift that they have gotten. And that's stacked into massive wins. So where should you actually spend your time? Start with Instagram and TikTok. These are your proof platforms. Short, authentic installs, transformations, and UGC clips outperform glossy ads every time. Look at Hoonigan. They didn't grow on polished commercials. Their raw burnout clips and behind-the-scenes garage videos built a cult following that translated into millions in merch and part sales. Proof beats polish. On TikTok especially, your reach often exceeds your follower count. On Instagram, expect 3 to 4% reach and 4% engagement if your content is useful. The key here is utility. Show, don't sell. Nobody wants another ad. They want something helpful, an install tip, a product comparison, or a proof that your parts actually work. What about Facebook and LinkedIn? Facebook, it's still valuable, but only in groups. Treat them as communities, not promo boards. As far as LinkedIn, it works for B2B buyers like fleets or wholesalers, but don't waste cycles pitching enthusiasts here. Now, here are the counterintuitive truths. Shaky iPhone video beats polished production. Cleetus McFarland built an 8-figure brand on exactly this. Shaky GoPros in a garage. Zero polish, zero ad scripts. Just proof, personality, and community. Viral moments came along the way, but what sold parts was consistency and authenticity. Likes don't equal loyalty. Lifestyle shots without SKU context don't sell parts. Another one is virality is overrated. A million views means nothing if it's not tied back to your catalog. So what should you do in 2025? Put UGC at the center. Reshare installs, dyno polls, trail rides. They convert better than branded reels. Real Truck did this at scale. Instead of brand reels, they reposted customer installs, influencer trail rides, and shop walkthroughs. That UGC didn't just boost reach, it became the proof layer fueling both their ads and SEO. Prioritize short, authentic clips with voiceovers or behind-the-scenes looks. Cross-post influencer or customer clips to boost reach. And forget vanity metrics. Nobody cares about 100,000 Fiverr followers that you have gotten for $100. Instead, ask, would a DIYer share this content in a group chat? Think of organic social like a torque wrench. It's not your whole toolbox, but when used right, it tightens everything else in your strategy. If social is the trust layer, YouTube is your digital parts counter. RevZilla built an entire parts counter on YouTube. Their install and comparison guides keep showing up in search years later, and they keep selling. That's how they turned content into a compounding asset, not a one-off post. When people get serious about buying, they don't scroll TikTok. They type into YouTube, best exhaust for Ford F-150, how to install coilovers, top 5 upgrades for Jeeps. Here's why it matters. 60 to 75% of buyers say that YouTube influenced their purchase. That's not an opinion, that's research-backed. Unlike social posts that disappear in 24 hours, a single install guide on YouTube can drive sales for years. The power move is long-form content. Install guides, walk them through step by step. These rank on Google too. Comparison videos, exhaust A versus exhaust B. Top 5 upgrades, such as bundled recommendations that create cross-sells. CJ Pony Parts is a masterclass here. Their coilover and exhaust install videos not only rank on YouTube, they show up in Google, forums, and drive consistent parts sales for years after upload. Evergreen installs aren't just content. They are sales machines. The next move is to turn your long-term video into 5 pieces of content. Cut into shorts for TikTok and Instagram. Pull screenshots for forums and Reddit threads. Embed it into your blog for SEO lift. Drop it into your email sequence for new subscribers. The counterintuitive truth? It's not like the viral 10-second video meme that sells parts. It's the boring and detailed Evergreen install video that closes sales for years. 1A Auto proved this. Their no-frills install videos built trust at scale, pulling in millions of views from DIYers who came for help and stayed to buy parts. Viral memes don't move inventory. Evergreen guides do. And here's the kicker. YouTube works while you sleep. Your install guide can rack up views at 3 a.m. in another state or on the other side of the world. And it's always open, it's always selling. So think of YouTube as your virtual sales floor. It's not flashy, it's not a quick hit, but it's the most reliable long-term traffic and sales driver you'll ever have. Speaking of the long-term traffic, let's talk about a channel that's a key part of many auto enthusiasts' research process, but many brands are still sleeping on it. Forums don't get headlines. They're not sexy like TikTok and Instagram. But here's the secret. They quietly outrank brands in thousands of Google searches for part-related queries. Why does this matter? Because enthusiasts trust peer validation more than polished ads. If someone is debating brand A versus brand B, the forum thread with 200 comments carries more weight than your perfectly edited Instagram reel. The power move here is to show up as an enthusiast first, vendor second. American Muscle didn't just drop links, they posted full Mustang builds on forums. Extreme Terrain did the same thing in Jeep groups. They showed up as enthusiasts first, vendors second, and buyers rewarded them with trust. When to answer questions like you're helping a buddy in a garage, post your own build threads with real photos, sponsor classifieds or sticky threads to give back to the community. Counterintuitive truth, forums aren't dead. They're Google's backdoor into buyer intent. LS1 Tech proves it. Threads from 2014 on headers and cams still rank top 10 on Google today. While Instagram posts disappear in 24 hours, these threads quietly pull in buyers into the funnel a decade later. While social algorithms hide your content, forum threads live for years, and they rank in search. The trick is not to broadcast, it's to contribute. Turner Motorsports won BMW enthusiasts over by dropping wiring diagrams and install tips on BIM reforms. No sales pitch, just value. That credibility translated into sales when buyers were ready. Because in these communities, credibility is earned one helpful post at a time. Think of forums as stealth gatekeepers of the aftermarket. They won't drive you instant clicks like paid ads, but they quietly influence the decisions that happen when buyers are deep into their research mode. In a world of clicks and dashboards, it's easy to write off trade shows, cars and coffee, or local meets as outdated. But here's the counterintuitive truth. Offline experiences still sell parts, just not always in the moment. Think about it. You can't smell burning rubber through Instagram. You can't feel the rumble of an exhaust through a TikTok, but you can at a show. And those sensory memories? They stick and drive sales weeks or months later. Borland knew nobody buys a $1,500 exhaust of a banner, but let them hear the rumble at SEMA? That sound sells itself weeks later when they're back at their laptop. The mistake most brands make? Presence without activation. Holley doesn't just show up at PRI. They fire up a dyno on the show floor, while others still sit behind the banners. Holley draws a crowd with a raw horsepower, and it echoes in sales later. Dropping a 10K on a booth and sitting behind a banner is wasted. Let's talk about what works in activation. You want to do live installs, dyno runs, exhaust sound-offs, hands-on demos. Let me share a quick personal story. At SEMA, I saw a guy demo grip edge tools on a rounded bolt. The crowd instantly swarmed. Forget banners. Everyone was glued to that oddly satisfying moment the bolt popped free. Here's another counterintuitive nugget. Local often beats global. Hoonigan didn't start global, they fueled cult loyalty at cars and coffee burnouts and grassroots drift meets. Those local memories created a movement that no Instagram ad could. Yes, SEMA and PRI set trends, but smaller grassroots trends, Jeep ride trails, motorcycle rallies, cars and coffee, often deliver stickier impressions at a fraction of the cost. The real power play is bridging offline and online. Use QR codes on banners, hands out, even demo vehicles. That turns fleeting interest into measurable traffic and sales. Don't waste the content opportunity. Film the installs, film the reactions, the sound offs. That single event can fuel a YouTube tutorial, Instagram Reels, TikTok Shorts, a forum recap, and even an email to your list. Bottom line, trade shows and local meets are not dead. They are memory machines. They spark the trust that digital closes. Everyone wants a silver bullet. Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, forums, trade shows. But here's the truth. No single channel wins alone. In the automotive aftermarket, it's the system that wins. Throttle proves that the flywheel works. They build a car live, film it for YouTube, slice clips for TikTok, share recaps on forums, and showcase it at meets. The system, not one channel, built their audience and their sales. Each channel plays a distinct role. Social is a trust layer, not the sales machine people imagine. It's the credibility amplifier that nudges buyers on the edge. YouTube is the evergreen sales machine, the real digital parts counter, because 60 to 75% of buyers say YouTube influenced their purchase. Forums are your validation layer. Reddit threads, Jeep forums, Mustang boards. They outrank brands in Google and carry more weight than polished ads. Events are your memory machines. Trade shows and meets spark experiences. Sounds, installs, trust. Your sales come later. Social is not your growth driver. It's a trust driver. Long-form content on YouTube is better than TikTok. Buyers researching serious purchases prefer depth over quick wins. Forums are not dead. They're Google's backdoor into buyer intent. Events sell later, not on the spot. The memory triggers the online conversion. Here's how best brands integrate. Film and install at a local meet. Publish it as a 10-minute YouTube tutorial. Then cut it into 30-second reels for Instagram and TikTok. Post screenshots plus recap on forums and Reddit. And then print QR codes linking to the video and hand them out to the next event. One event fuels content across every channel, feeding the same flywheel of trust, influence, and sales. Here's the adjustments too many brands miss. Stop worshipping ROAS. ROAS only captures the single channel in isolation. When you have multiple channels, it doesn't account for overlaps. The real game is measuring MER, which is your marketing efficiency ratio, which is total revenue divided by total ad spend, and gross profit after ads, what actually lands in your pocket. Let me talk about the personal story, the ROAS mirage. Years ago, I judged success only by one number, ROAS. One client hit every target, dashboards lit up, looked like we were winning. Then the truth came out. Their Shopify data showed sales were actually down 10%. I was surprised. But why? ROAS had us chasing branded search and retargeting. Buyers they would get anyways. They weren't growing demand, they were just recycling it. So the lesson is, ROAS isn't profit, it's a mirage. Because the system works even when individual dashboards lie. This is how brands win in the aftermarket, by running an integrated playbook. All right, let's wrap up with today's top 3 takeaways. First, double down on bottom funnel SEO. Search specs, install guides, product-led articles. The content the buyers actually need before they purchase. Number 2, focus on platforms that deliver real engagement. Reels, TikToks, YouTube tutorials. Forget vanity metrics. Build content that actually moves buyers closer to purchase. And 3, don't sleep on communities and events. Forums, discords, trade shows. These are gold mines for long-tail SEO, social proof, and authentic customer connection. So what's next? This is just one piece of the playbook. In the next video, we'll break down marketplaces, how to sell on Amazon, eBay, and more without losing control of your brand. If you want to skip the trial and error and see exactly how this applies to your brand, book a free discovery call. We'll audit your current setup, map the exact roadmap to scale profitably. See you in the next video.